This is Smith & Wesson, Model 351 PD versus Part 1 of 3, AirWeight versus AirWeight. We're going to give a quick shout out at the start of our video today to Daryl's Gun Shop and Range. Thanks, Daryl's. You guys rock. Fantastic facilities like this are an invaluable resource to have in your area. Not only do they have an excellent indoor and outdoor range for all seasons use, but the staff is extremely knowledgeable and friendly and helpful. Let's hit the range. Okay, are you ready? I am going to load. Okay, here we are at Daryl's Gun Shop and Indoor Range here today. We're going to be taking a look at 2 AirWeight, I guess technically 3, we're going to say AirWeight snub nose revolvers. I am going to be shooting first the Smith & Wesson AirWeight 637. This is in 38 special plus P, and I'm going to be shooting some defensive ammo out of it today, well, just for authenticity's sake. So I'm going to load 4. This is Hornady Critical Defense, because I have partial boxes, and then one of, I think this is a Federal. And I am going to do all of my shots double action today, since I am of the mindset that if I had to use this firearm, I would not have the opportunity to first work the hammer. So here we go, 5 shots, and our target is at 5 yards here today. Well, I shoot that well to the right, but they're on the paper. Okay, I'm going to fire 1 more cylinder at our target. This time I'm going to use 4. These are Underwood Extreme Penetrator. And then 1 more of our Federal random. Here we go. I think the first shot will be the Federal one. Had a little more oomph to them, I think. Ready? Yep. I think most of your shots are just above the bullseye. Getting into the numbers behind these firearms. Now, both these firearms are J-frame Smith & Wesson snub nose revolvers. The external dimensions, if you ignore the style of grips on them, on paper, pretty much identical. Both firearms are 6.31 inches long, 4.2 inches high, and 1.3 inches wide. The major differences in these 2 firearms comes down to 3 things: caliber, capacity, and weight. The Smith & Wesson Model 351 PD is chambered in .22 Winchester Magnum. It has a 7-round capacity and weighs in at an amazingly light 10.8 ounces. The Smith & Wesson Model 637 is chambered in .38 Special plus P. It has a 5-round capacity and weighs in at a very light 15 ounces. Now here is a shot of the grip view, and we're also going to show a top-down view just so you can really see that these firearms are the same size other than the grips that are on them. One area where the Model 351 has an advantage, in my opinion, is in the front sight. As you can see here, it comes with a nice high visibility, high vis front sight that is replaceable. On the 637, you just have the frame integrated sights that are fixed. You can't do anything about them. except maybe paint them, we'll say. Before we go into more detail on these firearms, how about a little more range time? Okay, now we are going to do 5 shots as fast as I can. We're going to use a PAX timer, and so I am ready. Whenever you hit the button and then I hear the beep, I will fire as fast as I can.
Okay, I'm going to hit the button. You ready?
I'm ready.
2.84.
That hurt, but 5 are on the paper. That was uncomfortable. Okay, let me know when you're ready and I'll hit the button.
Anytime.
Okay, you were way faster. 2.81. You were significantly faster than me in your splits, definitely. And all 7 on the paper. We better get pictures of those. Okay, I'm gonna load 5 more for 5 measured shots that are gonna be single action. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, we're not timing, right?
No, because I'm just going to do single action for hopefully maximum accuracy. I'm just going to aim at the center bullseye. I feel like I actually did better than I expected. Ready whenever you are. You got a good group going there.
Nothing means nothing. Nothing means nothing. If you don't like and subscribe, nothing means nothing. Hope this video become the cream of the crop. Rise to the top. Alright, let's get to our video here today. Okay, here we go. So, blop. We have reached what we're going to call the conclusion to today's video. As we said a moment ago, the big 3 in this video are caliber, capacity, and weight. We're going to take a moment now to expand upon those points in greater detail. One amazing thing I often see happen with the snubbies is the quick boost of confidence shooting one can give a newer shooter. The smaller size leads people to believe they are more difficult to shoot. And in my experience, often the small firearms with a very short sight picture are among the most difficult. But for whatever reason, a snubby can be almost point and click simple to successfully use for many people. You hit the target with that little old thing, so why can't you do it with the hand cannon? Heck yeah, brother. Obviously to some, these 2 firearms are of a very different caliber. Yeah, those yeah butters who comment based only upon the title, are going to make the argument that this is a dumb comparison, not fair, blah, blah, blah. A common idea mentioned in discussions regarding .38 Special or .22 caliber carry firearms is the notion that a .38 Special or a .22 caliber revolver is more mild on the recoil compared to something like a .357 Magnum. Particularly on the smaller snub-nose style revolvers, that can be true for the majority of people. As such, one of the questions consumers have, especially novice firearms owners, is how different is .38 Special compared to .22 Magnum in terms of recoil. They might be drawn to one or the other because they're looking for a reliable revolver that is lower on the recoil for whatever reason that may be. Now you'll often see statements like, "I got one of these for my wife," as a comment on how mild they are to shoot in marketing material. While I'm sure there are plenty of people who have bought them for their wives, there's also a subtle marketing ploy at play here. It's the same tactic the auctioneer uses at you when you're at the car auction, when you hit your limit on the car being sold, and he wants to try and squeeze that next bid out of you. Is that your son standing there next to you? You want to be a quitter in front of your son? You just bid again, didn't you? Now, to borrow a phrase from Kevin Hart, real talk. Now, AirWeight 30-nose snub-nose revolvers are extremely unpleasant to shoot, in my opinion. The only things I find more punishing to shoot are larger caliber AirWeight revolvers and .410 Derringers. I find them brutal on the hands, and you clearly see that in this video. I'm not hamming it up for the camera when you see me shaking my hand out at times. When switching to the Norma 158 grain jacketed hollow points for the rapid fire segment, those 5 rounds in rapid succession were punishing. If this were the movies, an old timer would be commenting right now about kicking like a stubborn mule. The fact of the matter is, the firearm is not meant to be pleasant to shoot. Sadists might see it as the perfect regular range practice item. Most others, however, will find it very unpleasant to shoot. But for its intended purpose, an extremely concealable and reliable personal protection firearm, they are extremely capable. Revolvers, when properly maintained, are typically extremely reliable. Both of these firearms have functioned 100% reliably thus far. In the unlikely event of a failure, you can just pull the trigger again and try the next cylinder. Most snubbies are much more accurate than expected, especially at what would be considered self-defense ranges. Now when it comes to the AirWeight .22 Magnum snub-nose revolver, you do have a significant decrease in recoil when compared to the .38 Special. While I still find it to be more on the unpleasant side, it is much more manageable. Some people will likely be surprised to hear me say that. In most platforms, the .22 Magnum round is regarded as very low recoil, though most of those other platforms are also much larger, heavier items. Like my Auto Mag 2, for example. No recoil, but it's also much larger, heavier, and a Robocop-esque firearm. Awesome! But that's for another video. The 351, being AirWeight, comes in at 10.8 ounces. On paper, a little more than a half pound might seem like a lot, but in the hand, the weight fits the label, AirWeight. It is extremely hard to appreciate how light the Model 351 is until you have held one in your hand. It's even more impressive when you handle it next to a larger caliber AirWeight firearm that you previously thought was almost AirWeight, like this 637 used to be for me. The one point you may have noticed is the majority of rounds we fired today were done double action. Most people when practicing with these firearms will almost exclusively fire them single action. Being able to do a nice, measured single action shot is nice, but I'm not sure in a self-defense situation we'd have that luxury. So we tend to do the majority of our practice with these style firearms double action. Both the 351 and the 637 have very shootable double action triggers. By virtue of the Performance Center, the double action trigger on my 637 is nicer than that on the 351. But as you saw from the targets today, the stock double action trigger on the 351 more than held its own. I'd say the better sights on the 351 helped it overcome the slight trigger disadvantage, while the slight trigger advantage on the 637 helped it overcome its slight disadvantage to the sights. You may have also noticed in this video we made a point of shooting 7 rounds from the Model 351 versus 5 rounds from the 637. That was on purpose, to help highlight the difference in capacity. When you're talking 15, 17, 19 rounds, the difference of 2 rounds might not seem like much to some. But I think the difference between 5 and 7 rounds can be significant. In a situation where every round might matter, 2 additional rounds before reloading could be critical. The consumer of today is mostly enamored with capacity, but there are still plenty of consumers out there who are going to gravitate towards simplicity and reliability over caliber and capacity. A snub-nose 38 or 22 revolver can be an excellent choice for those consumers. I think revolvers in general can be an excellent option for the more novice shooter. The ability to swing open the cylinder, empty, and visually see the firearm is empty can be an extremely powerful and underappreciated feature. It is not uncommon to see a new shooter believe removing the magazine alone from a pistol renders it empty while being unaware that there could still be 1 round in the chamber. A revolver can almost be point and click simple to operate for many people, even a complete novice. To the novice or recoil sensitive shooter, while I'd highly recommend a revolver and even a snub-nose revolver, when you start getting into 38 special and above, I find the slightly heavier steel frame versions to be the better option compared to the AirWeight versions. The few extra ounces of weight in those steel frame options go a long way in absorbing recoil in my experience. For those where recoil is less of a concern and who want the easier concealability of a lighter firearm, the AirWeight revolvers can be an excellent choice. They are certainly easy to carry and every bit as reliable as their heavier brothers, while being a little lighter in my experience. One thing many viewers will have a question on will be the stopping power of 22 Magnum versus 38 Special out of a snub-nose revolver. Unfortunately, in this 3-part series, that is not a question we're going to be able to answer. However, we do have plans to visit that topic in a follow-up video this coming spring or summer. Let us know in the comments if you'd like to see that question answered by way of a meat target or the ballistics gel test. And as a preview of part 2 for this 3-part series, Model 351 PD versus Ruger LCR 22. Find out why you should question any review that includes mention of plans for adding a laser because of the trigger. So anyway, I hope you found this video useful, maybe a little funny. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good day.